Action.
Hi friends, as I was mentioning some time back, I'm going to talk about how do you resolve your grief. For those of you who are seeing it for the first time, I'm Ganesh Srinivasan and I'm an NLP Huna expert. We'll come to know what Huna is by watching the other videos. Here I just want to talk to you about how you can resolve your grief. The grief can be due to many reasons. Maybe a close relative, friend passes away, or you might even lose your job. Then there is also grief. And the other example is somebody who goes through a divorce, they also feel the separation, and that also could cause some grief. One of the precautions is you don't immediately do a grief resolution therapy. You do it after some time. A good time would be at least 2 or 3 weeks after the incident has happened, right? And if not, wait till you reach that stage where a sufficient time has passed and then naturally the time heals to a certain extent, and then with a lesser emotional impact, you can easily resolve it, bring it down to the level 0, where there is absolutely no impact. Shall we? So what generally happens is you go into a room where it's like a movie hall or wherever it is. You'll be doing it in 3 positions. For example, imagine that you are sitting in the middle of the theater and going to the projector room and watching yourself seeing the movie. And there is also another position where you can be part of the movie. So this is the first position where you are part of the movie. This is the second position where you are watching it from the middle of the theater, looking at the screen. The third position would be from the projector room. You are watching yourself enacting some scene on the screen. So, as we think about this particular event, whatever has happened, you go to the end of the event and then we would be going backwards through all the events and stop at a time just before the event where you are completely happy and your normal self before the event. So we can call this as position B, that is like maybe now or after the event has happened, and we go towards point A, which is a few seconds or minutes before the event, where you are happy normal self. So imagine that you are sitting in the theater and imagine that the movie is running in black and white of the event, and you are watching it from the middle of the theater, and slowly you are going to the projector booth and watching it from there. The whole movie starts from point B, which is just a few minutes after the event has happened, and you will go in reverse. The whole movie is played in black and white, and you reach a point A, which is a few seconds or a few minutes before the event, where you are completely happy, natural, normal self. Run this movie backward once again. You are watching it from the projector booth. You are watching yourself sitting in the middle of the theater and watching the event running backwards. And imagine you have all the controls. So run it in black and white, let it go ahead, and then end up at you being your natural, happy self. Once again, from the projector booth, run it for the 3rd time. Run it from point B to point A just before the event, few minutes before the event, where you are your completely natural, normal self. After you have done that in black and white, slowly come back to the middle of the theater and once again start running this movie in black and white from point B to point A, where you end up being your natural, normal self. Run it again from point B to point A, you sitting in the middle of the theater, watching this event, going backwards, like when you do a rewind of a movie with full speed. Only thing is it is going in black and white. And you end up at point A, where you are your completely normal, happy self. Do it once again for the third time. You are sitting in the middle of the theater, running the movie in black and white, starting from point B and ending up in point A, where you are happy, normal, natural self before the event. And once you have done this 3 times, now slowly go, get into the movie, become part of the movie, and start from point B. That is like after the event has happened, slowly go backwards in black and white, even though you are participating on the screen, and end up in point A, which is few minutes before the event, where you are completely happy, normal, natural self. Now, do it again for the second time. You know the drill. Everything is in black and white. You're part of the movie and you're starting from B and reverse all the way up to point A, which is a few minutes before the event, where you end up being your happy, normal, natural self. Do it for one last time. That is the third time. On the screen, you're part of the movie, but the whole movie is running in black and white in reverse, starting from point B and running it all the way, you ending up at point A, where you are completely normal, natural self. So once this happens, again we'll come back to the projector booth position, and now we will run the movie backwards. You will be watching yourself sitting in the middle of the screen and the events taking place on the screen from the projector booth, but this time the only difference is it will be in color. Again do the same drill 3 times. From B to point A, you are watching from the projector booth. Run the movie as quickly as you can, but this time in color. Do it again second time from the projector booth, but in full color. Run this movie backwards, you ending up being your happy, natural, normal self before the event. Run it once again from the projector booth. You're watching yourself sitting in the middle of the theater, and run this movie third time in color, and you're moving from point B to point A, ending up being your happy, normal, natural self. Now slowly come back to the middle of the theater, run the same movie backwards but in full color. Start from point B, run it backwards, you end up being your happy, natural, normal self before the event. Run it for the second time, you know the drill. Start from B but in full color, you are in the middle of the theater, run the movie, end up being your happy, normal, natural self. Once again, for the third time, run this movie backwards from point B to point A, which is a few minutes before the event. You're ending up being your natural, happy self. Now, shift to the screen itself. Run this movie 3 times from point B to point A. Start. First, you run the movie, you end up in point A, being your happy, normal, natural self. Run it for the second time, again in full color. Run it backwards, you end up being in point A, your happy, normal, natural self. One last time, third time, end up being your happy, normal, positive self. Now that you have done, take a look at the room where you're sitting. Open your eyes. Think about your last birthday or the time when you went to your vacation, or your closest friend who is not connected with this, somebody with whom you are really happy. What we have done is we have just taken a break from our mental state. That is our purpose. In NLP terminology, Huna terminology, we call this as a break state. So we want to disconnect whatever has happened and we are getting into a neutral territory. Now, what I want you to do is imagine that you have spent a lot of times with that person, happy times. Recollect all those happy times as a movie with the person, with the job, or with your partner, with whom you have a divorce. So if any one of these cases, imagine the good times, wonderful times that you have had with that person. Just run that movie and freeze each and every frame. So there are millions of photographs. And imagine that these photographs are available and every photograph you see shows a positive, lively moment. And what I want you to do is choose these photographs and in your timeline all the way through, push and spray these photographs so that it goes into million pieces and fills up your timeline all the way from the present all the way till end of your life. So all these positive photographs fills up from the time before the event and goes and fills up all the way at distinct places, and you can even send other good experiences, happy occasions as a star, as a bursting crackers filling into your timeline, and different places this fills in at different pictures and photographs. Now imagine that you are starting from point A and all these pictures with the stars and light up and light works filling up your timeline, and starting from point A to all the way to the end of your life. Imagine that these are filled in, and now run this movie forward, maybe in black and white, maybe in color, doesn't matter. Imagine that this is what has happened and it fills in and nicely it integrates with your life, with your events, and then runs throughout all the way. Run this movie as quickly as you can from the beginning of point A to B and all the way beyond. And each and every nook and corner is filled with this positive, vibrant images interspersed at different intervals, and you've added additional joy and liveliness to that. Run this movie quickly. Mentally you can run it pretty fast, like zip, 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 zip. Imagine that it goes in and everything is integrated. Run this movie 20 or 30 times or even more. Now that you're done, and you can feel a difference even now. Now think back about that person or an event or your job or your partner. Now you will feel completely different. And with that, I would say, have a great life, and with a positive image of the whole thing, your whole life will be impacted positively. Thank you.